Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Elements of 40K Water Edition, and they're gonna be a little bit different how I cover them. Pretty much, a good example units or armies would be Deathwing or Grey Knight, like pure Grey Knight, using only Grey Knights and Power Armor or Grey Knights and Terminator Armor, and their associated Land Raiders and Dreadnoughts, um, and Deathwing in all its forms. I'm not going to go into units because almost any unit can find a home in a water army. But I will go into what you would look for. A water army needs generalist, well-rounded units. So tactical squads can fit well, Chaos Space Marine squads, Thousand Sun squads, even Slaughter squads can kind of fit well because of the upgrades they can take or their innate abilities. Also, I'll go quickly for another unit, battle suits and stealth suits, because the way they move and that they have the relentless rule. But what you're looking for war gear wise, as far as weapons go, is something that lets you shoot on the move, aka an assault weapon. Storm bolters are great. Deathwing come with them standard because of Terminators. Grey Knights come with them standard, and this is why they fit the bill as a stereotypical water army because of their storm bolters. Melted guns also fit in well for this, lets you take out tanks when you get close. That's what you want, or you want heavy weapons on your Terminator squads, for example, like a Cyclone missile launcher or assault cannon. Something that can move and shoot, so dreadnoughts even. So that's a look at it, because almost any unit can find a home in a water army. You want to maximize your assault weaponry, just because you don't shoot at max range. So, what is a water army? Well, a water army, as was said in the Elements 40K video and in Tony Pony's response, is a reactionary force. Like I said, think Deathwing, think Grey Knight armies. They're going to usually be small, elite type of armies. But because they're well-rounded, generalistic, balanced being the key word. I don't mean balanced as in not power game. I mean balanced as in you have a good mix of a blend of assault and shooting and stuff like that. Then that's how you win. It's not like fire overwhelming you with assault, or earth overwhelming you with firepower, or air overwhelming you with speed. It's water reacting. I guess it sounds not as epic or lame to some people, or it just sounds weak. But think about it if I say it a different way. It wins by denying your opponent its ability. So what I mean is, the water element's tactic is denying the other elements their tactics. So, kind of, if you play Magic the Gathering, a control type deck, not straight up counterspell, but a control deck. That's the best analogy I can give, and hopefully that helps some people. Basically, when your opponent does something, you're going to be on top of that. Your opponent is never a time that your opponent moves a unit that you're not going to react to that. It's like if your opponent moves this, I don't even know, Chaos Space Marine squad forward. It's not like and then moves the Defiler diagonally towards the right flank. You're not going to react to just the Defiler and ignore the Chaos Space Marine squad. You're reacting to everything your opponent does. So it can be a little overwhelming to people at times. Excuse me. Not only reacting to that, you're reacting to the terrain around you, as it's going to vary, and you're also reacting to yourself. What you did last turn, you're going to react upon that in addition to what your opponent did. Essentially, you're going to I lost the word. You're going to progress from what you did last time to now what you're doing now, which maybe moving back from where you came from, because that's a good reactionary move. Who knows? If you want to really see a water army shine, tournaments. Somebody who's a water player in a tournament you can see him shine, because you'll see his army reacting differently because of the terrain and because of the army he's playing. He can play the same type of army twice in a row, but being it's a different terrain, he'll act differently than last game. So there's not that many water players out there, mostly because it's hard to define, it's hard to learn, and water isn't as straightforward as earth or fire or even air. It seems weak at first because, honestly, in the beginning when you're learning and maybe the first reaction or anything, it is kind of weak. Your opponent is essentially leading the game as far as what you can expect to happen. But you need that, and that's not entirely accurate either. Sometimes to be reactive, you got to be proactive, and sometimes reacting isn't always reacting. And let me explain a little bit more advanced about what that means. Sometimes you have to do something as the water player to force your opponent to react to it as well. Because let's face it, this game's about reacting. Not just reacting, but it's about having a specific playstyle and then dealing with changes. So you may have to do something while reacting, also doing something to force your opponent to respond to certain, and it's not always A plus B equals C. Sometimes it's A plus candy equals nuclear fallout. I mean, you're gonna move forward and react in order to get a specific reaction or a specific set of reactions that can happen from your opponent, knowing that he's going to react in a certain way, and then your next reaction can capitalize on that. So you got to force reactions sometimes. Sometimes you got to be proactive, be reactive, and sometimes reacting isn't always reacting. Sometimes you got to react a certain way in order to react a certain way later. If you get my meaning, like set yourself up to not be assaulted, or set yourself up to get to cover, stuff like that. Also, the water element keeps in mind the mission more so than the other elements. Because water's objective isn't to tail your opponent like an assault army might want to do for a fire army. An earth army isn't going to try and destroy all of your heavy weaponry like a water army isn't going to try and destroy all your heavy weaponry like an earth army is, or might want to. Also, a water army may not try and pick or outflank you or pick them when they're fighting like an air army because they lack the speed. A water army is going to react to everything. And it's going to react differently. The sand army will react differently depending on what element it's facing and depending on what army it's facing of that type of element. Just because Grey Knights have a strength in the assault phase doesn't mean they're going to go there and get it. Just because Deathwing can mix its units up doesn't mean it's going to mix its weapons up. Doesn't mean it's going to now try and assault you. Yeah, they may eventually do that to finish off a small squad, but it's using everything at your disposal, your reactions and everything. So I hope that helped a little bit. When you're playing against water, what you want to make them do is you want to force water to break, to crack. You want to force them to essentially bottle up, get disoriented. If you want to force a water army to try and act like a fire or earth, because it can't act like air, it's not fast enough. But if you can force water to stop being water and start playing like fire or earth, you got the advantage on them. If you force water to commit too early to something, you got the advantage on them. As water, you got to keep this in mind, and you have to do things for the mission. You have to do things carefully. Don't commit too early. Don't act too earthy. Don't act too fiery. Don't try to act like air. You won't be able to do it. Essentially, once you have the advantage, like in Annihilation, once you get a kill point advantage, back off, retreat, let them come to you, string them along. Sit on objectives. If you got enough objectives to get a tie or a win, sit on them. Maybe you'll sit on them when you can, not too early, and then try and sit on them by normal times, like 4 or whatever, and maybe 5th turn you can grab the last one if you're able to. So don't commit too early. And don't act like other elements. Your water, be reactive. If your opponent's going to sit there and make it a stalemate, react to that. Do something. Force them to crack, and then you got it. So I hope that helped. I hope you enjoyed this series of stuff, of the elements, stuff, not just stuff. And I may do more like in-depth looking at assaulting and shooting and reacting type of stuff in a later date. So until next time, take it easy.